but I think it's more impactful, that we do what Yeshua did. Which Yeshua, when he actually stood up, okay, he read a verse and a half, by the way, out of Isaiah. That's all, a verse and a half. And in reading the verse that he read, he then told them how this impacted them. He said, this has been fulfilled. So when he would read and teach, he would say, where it says this, let me teach you the impact that should have on you. That's what we do on Shabbat. Is we'll take the scripture and tell you what does it have to do with you? How does it and how should it impact your life, your walk, who and what you are, and how we interact with each other? I mean, that's really what that's all about. The good news is he tells us all that. That's really good news. We don't have to make it up or guess. That's the transformational aspect of this. Become imitators. What does imitators mean? Do what I do, think like I think, make decisions like I make decisions, right? Feel about things the way I feel about things. In other words, learn and understand what that all is about so you can imitate him. Have you ever done that with some people where, first of all, we do this even sometimes without even thinking. Somebody gets upset about something, so we get upset about it. And we imitate it without even consciously making a decision to imitate it. But other times we wonder. In other words, you see somebody handling something in a way you wouldn't handle it, and sometimes in a way that you wish you would handle it, and you want to figure out, how do they do that? And then when you find out, you imitate, or you would like to try to strive towards imitating, because you say, oh, I struggle with that, you don't. How do you do that? How do you not struggle with this thing I struggle with? How do you handle that? Why do you want to know? So I can imitate it. This is a mindset we should have. The child, a beloved child, not the rebellious child or some other problem child, but the actual, listen here, it says here, beloved child wants and desires to be like, especially when it's something good. That's the beloved. I know you're good, Mom. I know you're good, Dad. And of course, a lot of you didn't have this. I understand that. But we have the heavenly one. And so we need to be imitators as beloved children who love him and say, I want what you have. I want to be what you are. Because a lot of times that's what children are like. I want to be just like Dad. I want to be just like Mom. Some of you had a terrible situation with Mom and Dad, and you still wish you could have had, you wanted to be just like, but you're like, but that's terrible. I don't want to really be like. But just somewhere inside, that's something you should have felt. You know that that's something you should have had. A mom you could be like, a dad you could be like. But we have that. Okay, I'm not saying we have a mom and a dad, but we have the Creator. It says, walk in love. I want to kind of differentiate something here. Could have said this during the prayer time. You must, to be a part of this, I don't mean this, I mean what the Father's doing, okay? You must love one another. You don't have to like each other all the time. Liking and loving is a whole different thing. Okay, liking should be situational, subjectively to that situation. I don't really like you right now. But if I love you, I will handle the fact that I'm not liking you right now differently than if I don't love you. Because he knows we're still a work in progress. And as a work in progress, you know what? You're going to do some things that are not so likable. And you know what? You should own it. You should go and apologize for it and say, you know what? I behaved in a way that wasn't very likable. I don't blame you for not liking me right now. But realize there's a difference between loving and liking. Scripture, I think, makes it pretty clear that the creator of the universe doesn't always like you. He just doesn't. He doesn't like when you choose to do a lot of dumb things, but he always loves you. He says, walk in love. So what does that mean? It means the things you do through your daily life, that's your walk. Okay, from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, you're not walking while you're sleeping, some people do. But I mean, your active, awake, and aware time is your walk. It includes before you even get out of the bed, because you may choose to do things while you're still in the bed. I, in the morning, will often pray, meditate, and think about, my relationships, including mine with the Creator, with my wife, with whatever. I mean, I do things before I even get out of the bed. But I'm awake and aware. And he says that's what we call the walk, your active, aware time. He says, do that in love. So love is the active framework for your walking. It doesn't mean just you're eating right or your Sabbath keeping or your feast keeping and not stealing and not murdering, whatever. That's all true. What I'm saying is all of your activities and your awake awareness should be framed in this thing called love. The good news is that he gives us the encouragements and the information we need to understand this is what makes relationships work, especially when we're looking at a future of a forever relationship. Some of us, I know, didn't really think that through. We thought through only, I get to live forever. I don't want to die. I'm tired of being in pain. I'm tired of this body not working right and everything else. I'm tired of all of these physical frailties and failings. I want that new body and to live forever, but it's not going to be just you. And it's not just going to be billions of others by themselves. His expectation is that we would be a family, a community that lives together forever. Okay? And that requires us to have interaction with each other, which is what we need that fruit of the Spirit for. You don't need the fruit of the Spirit just to be hanging out by yourself. Although some of you have trouble being patient with yourself and some of the other things, kind to yourself. So maybe you need that a little bit. But it's a whole lot more challenging when you add a second or third or 57 million other people into it as you are interacting as a community. As beloved children, and walk in love in this form, as Messiah also loved us. So how did he love you? The only one thing you can point to in his life is that he died. He was willing to give himself as a replacement for you, redemptively. I mean, they don't show him, except for the few healings, where's he running around doing all kinds of just awesome things for everybody? They don't show him doing social things. We don't know what his relationships were all like. But we see some healings. But what did he do for all of us? He said, take me, not them. So he says in his own words, no greater love does one have except what? To lay down your life for your brother. What kind of love do you have for your brothers? Would you lay down your life for most of the people in this room? No, because you really don't like each other. Some of you. You might like some, but you don't like others, okay? Some people might leave here and you'll celebrate. Why would you celebrate that? Because you're glad they're gone. Well, why would you be glad they're gone? I wish them well on their way so they finish whatever journey they need to do, however they need to do that. I'm not going to get in the way of that, but I'm not going to celebrate that they're gone. I don't care how irritating and obnoxious or, working against whatever I'm trying to do they were doing. I'm not glad they're gone. That's why I gave that little speech a couple of weeks ago and said, look, anybody that's out there wants to reconcile, heal, or whatever, I'm ready and willing and open to all of that. I'd like to believe, as it says in, the Father inspires in the Word to say that if possible, all men will be there, which means that we have to all be open to that possibility. We're all works in progress. But it's not going to work unless we're walking in love, as Messiah did with us. The whoring and uncleanness, I think, is easy enough to understand. But what's this greed of gain thing? I don't think greed of gain, just like in other places that we talk about things that get limited, like when we see the word lust, we think only sexual things. And lust is not limited to that. Greed of gain means this is my interpretation, doing things for selfish benefit. The body cannot be the body properly if there are people in it who are doing things for selfish benefit. So it's not necessarily a financial thing. Because Paul isn't talking just to a leader here, he's talking to the congregation. Because if you're thinking it's about greed of gain, you might be thinking, oh, well, the person in charge just wants money or whatever it is. Fine, I get accused of it all the time. Every leader everywhere gets accused of it all the time. I don't think a congregation's ever had a leader not be accused of that, I guess, unless they don't get any kind of a salary or whatever. But I think that for applying this to everybody, greed of gain means that you're doing something because somehow you would only do it because it only benefits you. And you're not going to do it if it doesn't benefit you. So in other words, it's asking you to be loving someone means understand who you're dealing with. Part of your problem, let's go back to understanding how all this works. You are a being inside of this receptor, okay? This body is a receiver. Okay, your consciousness is inside of this flesh suit. The problem is you're all distracted with all these emotions and everything else that you don't receive correctly what you're supposed to be receiving. The information is flowing in your direction. You're looking right at the person in front of you, and they're communicating, and you're either getting it wrong or missing it completely because you're not in a place to receive. You've got these filters. Filters can be preconceived judgments that you've come to about them, conclusions you've come to about them, emotions that are filtering.